that came back to bite him in the butt because the charges that were unsealed earlier this week accused Combs of running a decades-long racketeering conspiracy, included trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery. If he is convicted on all these charges, he potentially faces a sentence of life in prison.
As I said, our law firms have been retained by 120 individuals at this point to pursue cases in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs. You should know, in this group, it is evenly divided between males and females. There are 60 males and 60 females who have joined us to pursue these claims.
Accomplices to be revealed in a new lawsuit, okay? So in this story, this lawyer comes out and just drops the bomb on everybody. Attorney Tony Busby revealed that a list of Sean Diddy Combs' alleged accomplices will be released in a new wave of lawsuits involving 120 victims. He promised the names will shock you. The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there are a lot of names, you emphasize.
Recently, Diddy's lawyer briefed CNN about the gravity of the accusations the music mogul is facing and the reasons he may get a life sentence. Sean Diddy Combs is facing serious charges of fraud or coercion, trafficking by force, and racketeering conspiracy, all of which carry a possible sentence of life in prison. These charges stem from allegations that he was the head of a criminal organization that participated in trafficking, kidnapping, and bribery over a number of years. If convicted, Diddy faces a lengthy trial and a possible life sentence. According to his defense, they will vigorously refute these accusations.
No deal that the U.S. Attorney's Office can offer, and it's certainly not one that Diddy will accept. It would involve decades in federal prison. We're talking about mandatory minimum sentences of 10 years for both the charges and the trafficking. So we know that Diddy has fought charges before. There were state charges, there were gun-related, the nightclub shooting with J-Lo, but he's going to dig in his heels, and this case is going to trial. So if you're prosecutors, you really want to make sure that your evidence is bulletproof before you go down that route.
Federal authorities are apparently anticipating up to 120 more victims to come forward in the probe into Combs, which has shocked the public. Charges of misconduct, some of which are thought to have included children. Some victims were allegedly as young as 9 years old when the offenses occurred, are linked to these new claims, which span many decades. If confirmed, these accusations would significantly complicate Combs' defense and might lead to more charges, raising the profile of the music mogul's case.
Against Sean P. Diddy Combs, a Texas attorney says he now represents, get this, 120 alleged victims, male and female, adults and children, whose allegations span more than 30 years. The accounts of the alleged victims have not been fully vetted, but their claims involve assaults similar to what the feds described in their criminal indictment of the music mogul. Diddy's currently sitting in a federal jail awaiting trial on trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy charges. He pleaded not guilty to all charges, and his attorney once again stated that his client emphatically denies any claim that he's abused, end quote. Here's the bottom line. He looked for bail once, couldn't get it. Looked for it twice, couldn't get it.
The growing number of alleged victims in the case has led to increasingly severe accusations against Combs. Up to 100 other victims are expected to come forward, many of whom will claim they were coerced into attending gatherings organized by Combs. These parties, which have historically been described as raucous and hedonistic, are now being looked at as possible sites for exploitation. Some of these victims were reportedly as young as 9 years old when the alleged misconduct occurred.
We're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. The lawsuit covering incidents dating back to 1991 involving alleged abuse, many related to Combs at his infamous white parties events, allegedly involving Busby plans to file cases across several states, stating we will leave no stone unturned to find all potentially liable parties. Combs currently detained after being denied bail twice, as emphatically and categorically claims, calling them false and defamatory. Even his lawyer gets up.
The latest allegations against Combs compound earlier accusations of trafficking, misconduct, and intentional intoxication of victims at his notorious events. He allegedly coerced victims into trafficking when they were attending wild parties, according to these accusations, which now date back decades. Some victims are reportedly young, with alarming claims of misbehavior starting at age 9. If convicted guilty of the transportation-related offenses, Diddy may possibly be imprisoned for decades. The mounting legal pressure reflects the seriousness of the claims against him. A conviction might result in life in prison because to the nature of the charges, which include transportation and racketeering breaches.
Sean Diddy Combs was just arraigned on his indictment of sex trafficking and racketeering charges, and he was denied bail. I'm shocked, for one. I'm Eliza Orland's career public defender in Manhattan for the last 15 years, and I just heard this news that, in fact, denied him bail, and he will remain in custody. He will remain in jail through the pendency of this case. Now, granted, these are extremely serious charges, and he is facing up to a life sentence if convicted on the racketeering charges. But I thought that his attorney's pitch, which was for a $50 million bond and putting him in home detention in his Miami residence, would be accepted, judge. But that is not what happened. And the judge said that he will be detained. Defense lawyers apparently will be appealing this ruling to the district court, and he did, in fact, enter a plea of not guilty today. There is no trial date set yet, but the hearing date is next set for September 24th. Certainly not unusual for people to be detained pre-trial. However, the defense put together a proposal which basically offered home detention with GPS monitoring and a $50 million bond and handing over his passport, restricting his travel. So I'm just a little bit surprised that no bail got set in this matter and he's just being detained pre-trial. If folks are interested, I would be happy to go into more detail about the pitch by the defense counsel as to what they were offering instead of pretrial detention, but I am floored, and it looks like this case is going to proceed while Sean Combs is in custody.
For years, Diddy has been a controversial figure due to a number of accusations and rumors about the nature of his extravagant parties. His expensive parties, which have been described as boisterous, disorderly, and disruptive, are often attended by A-list celebrities. However, the most recent charges are considerably more serious than typical celebrity excess.
I have like an hour left, so get extra comfortable, kids, because after that, y'all gotta go. It's a wrap for y'all, because this thing turns into something that when y'all get older, y'all don't want to come to, okay? So, let's just start to get our groove on a little bit, then an hour, we put the kids away, it's all good. Hey, DJ, let's hit it, let's do it.
Diddy's assertions are based on a variety of charges made by different persons over the years. The most recent and serious charges, however, have come from Diddy's close collaborator, music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones. Jones has accused Diddy and his associates of being part of a trafficking network and of being drunk, harassing, and threatening others. Jones alleges that these acts occurred over an extended period of time and that, among other things, he was threatened with death and his employment in order to keep quiet. Jones' case also involves other well-known individuals, including Bishop T.D. Jakes, who is said to have helped and counseled Diddy at this difficult period. The lawsuit claims that Jakes was aware of Diddy's behavior and attended private occasions where inappropriate behavior occurred.
World-renowned Dallas pastor T.D. Jakes is named in a federal lawsuit against musician Sean Diddy Combs.
It's filed by a producer that worked with Combs. It discusses how the singer planned to leverage his relationship with the bishop to soften on his public image of Casey Ventura's lawsuit. Ventura is a former girlfriend of Combs who filed her own lawsuit in November alleging abuse, violence, and...
In March 2024, federal agents from Homeland Security investigations searched Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles. These searches were part of an ongoing investigation into the allegations of trafficking and misconduct. During the searches, authorities seized a number of items, including laptops, phones, and other electronic devices. At least 2 persons were arrested at the time, but no one was arrested. The raids were described as spectacular and aggressive, and Diddy's legal team blasted the federal authorities' behavior as being over the top. Diddy's attorney, Aaron Dyer, stressed that Diddy had fully cooperated with the authorities and called the raids a horrific misuse of military-level force.
There is criticizing the raids at 2 of the hip-hop mogul's homes in a federal trafficking investigation. He called them an unprecedented ambush. It comes as we're getting a new look inside Combs' LA house after the search by federal agents. Carter Evans has details about what the feds have uncovered so far.
Guns, cell phones, and other electronics are among the items taken from the homes of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, according to a source familiar with the search warrant performed by federal agents at his properties in Los Angeles and Miami. TMZ says this video shows the aftermath of the raid in Combs' LA mansion. Drawers empty, documents scattered, and safes open.
Shortly after the searches on Diddy's homes, Brendan Paul, Diddy's associate, was captured at the Miami OPA LACA Executive Airport. Paul was found to have illicit substances in his hands, disguised as sweets. After being arrested, he was charged with possessing a controlled substance. The ongoing investigation against Diddy and his associates became much more intricate as a result of this arrest. Rumors circulated by Brendan's arrest and the raids on Diddy's properties said that Paul could have been hired to transport the illicit drug out of Diddy's homes during the government inspections. This has bolstered theories that Diddy could have been attempting to move illicit products off of his residences to avoid detection by law authorities.
And searched. Hours after the raid started, Combs was seen walking around the Miami Opa-locka airport, according to TMZ, which also obtained this video. Later, at the same airport, authorities arrested Combs' associate, Brendan Paul, and charged him with possession. In a civil suit filed against Combs by former music producer Rodney Jones, Paul was accused of being a gun mule who allegedly aided Combs in trafficking. Yesterday, Diddy's lawyer called the law enforcement action nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits.
In response to the mounting legal challenges, Combs has assembled a formidable dream team of defense attorneys to combat the serious charges against him. Alexandra Shapiro's role on this new team is seen as a strategic attempt to bolster Diddy's defense, given her experience with complex and high-stakes matters. Given the gravity of the charges against him, Diddy's legal team is preparing for a tough battle in an effort to mitigate the potentially catastrophic consequences of a conviction.
Each in their own right of defending clients accused from different ranges, assault crimes, white-collar crimes, death penalty cases, etc. But in your opinion, what will make Diddy's case different in terms of defending?
The biggest issue with his case is the number of alleged victims that are coming forward. And normally when you have a case of one complainant against one defendant, instances of prior situations with other complainants.
The goals are to get bail and manage the growing number of cases, especially with over 120 new accusers coming forward. Diddy is making every effort to shield himself from his increasingly contentious legal battles. Diddy was arrested and charged with many serious crimes, including trafficking, and he allegedly used his position of power to run a criminal enterprise, taking advantage of women for his personal gain. Diddy is being vigorously defended by his legal team against serious charges that might result in a life sentence. After pleading not guilty twice, they are defending themselves against the gravity of the charges. Leading his defense is renowned attorney Mark Agnifilo, who is renowned for taking on difficult cases.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
How's your dad doing? How's your dad doing?
Family members appeared somber as they arrived at federal court in Manhattan today in another attempt to get out on bail.
They are determined to erase Diddy's record and are taking significant actions to do so, so they recently offered a $48 million bail package and a private jet in an effort to secure his release while he awaits trial.
Monitoring Sean P. Diddy Combs in court. He has pled not guilty, and the prosecutor is arguing that he should be held in jail. He should not be released on bail because he's reached out to witnesses and victims, and some witnesses say they are scared of him. This is according to the prosecutor. They're saying that he's reached out to some victims. The Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson is the one making this argument to the judge. She says that he's reached out to some victims. After Dawn Richard, a former member of a music group Combs started, filed her lawsuit on September 10th, Combs reached out to another member of the band who publicly denied the allegations 3 days later.
Diddy's willingness to confront the charges and the gravity of the matter are shown by this step. Following Diddy's imprisonment, Bowie Bads spoke up for him, saying that Diddy was only following the example set by several other well-known performers. He questioned the double standards in celebrity society and stated his opinion that Diddy is being unjustly singled out. Bowie supports Diddy and doesn't think he should be given a life sentence, as Daily Loud tweeted. It is clear that the goal of Head on the defense is to ensure his freedom throughout the judicial proceedings in addition to establishing his innocence. For basically doing what every other well-known artist has done, which is to depart __ for 3 sums of money, I think Diddy ought to be imprisoned. You need to be referred to as a sex worker. Combs was arrested after police searched his homes and discovered very disturbing evidence that backs up the criminal charges against him. The raid allegedly produced a wealth of evidence of illegal activities, including video recordings of elaborate and lengthy private parties that Diddy is accused of organizing. The raid allegedly involved numerous victims, some of whom were commercial adultery workers and others who were allegedly transported across state lines for exploitation. The disclosure of this damaging evidence has significantly bolstered the case against him, and as the legal proceedings go, the stakes have increased.
I have learned from sources that investigators have found several weapons inside his homes. Several. They also have found videos. It's been reported that Diddy has collected images of people in compromising situations at his residences. TMZ now obtained this video inside his home in Los Angeles after the raid by federal agents. It's reported that Diddy is the target of a trafficking investigation that comes after he was hit with a wave of civil lawsuits, alleged assault, and trafficking. I've also learned exclusively that Diddy is in Miami. Authorities know exactly where he is. They've been in touch with his legal team. Sources tell me he's trying to avoid the paparazzi, and they're telling me he will not be arrested soon.
The indictment claims that Diddy used narcotics, coercion, and threats to compel victims into doing these activities. Several prohibited drugs used during these contacts were also discovered during the searches. During the searches on Combs' mansion, authorities discovered a wide range of illicit materials, including over 1,000 bottles of lubricant, unlicensed guns, and restricted narcotics, all of which are allegedly related to the Wild Party's operations. Instances of physical misbehavior were also uncovered by the probe, including allegations of Diddy assaulting women. The ongoing investigation into the alleged trafficking and exploitation activities at these events, which Diddy is accused of hosting, depends on these findings.
It's like bacon in a skillet. Baby oil makes it juicy, man. And boy, when you come, ooh, I'm serious though. Every one of y'all to look at this, man. It can be for anybody. Baby oil. They found 1,000 bottles of this in Diddy's place, man. 1,000. Good God. Whew.
I wonder why you have so many of them.
Man, cause them booties, man, was, that was a freak off for real. I mean, who can ask for anything better if you into the freak stuff? You know, to go to one of them parties. But I think he messed up when, and stuff, you know, people over state land, underage and all that. And that makes it accountable. But to just go to one of them parties, well, you...
Diddy, who has refuted all of the charges, is facing a significant legal struggle as a result of these disclosures. The evidence acquired during the raids is essential to the current trials, and the case is continually evolving as new victims come forward. In fact, the attorney for P. Diddy has been inundated with inquiries from individuals who claim to have been victims. This surge of allegations highlights the depth of the charges and the possible extent of the case. And the attorney representing the claimed victims in the lawsuit against Diddy Combs is presently attempting to verify the accuser's statements and gather supporting material to back their testimony. As the case develops, the defense team aims to ensure that justice is served by closely reviewing the evidence and contrasting it with the victims' claims. Building a solid case that can withstand court scrutiny requires this process. The lawyers' efforts to confirm these assertions will have a significant impact on the outcome of the legal proceedings.
He has hired some pretty heavy hitters to join his defense team. Is it significant to you at all that he added a well-established death penalty attorney to his case, that being Anthony Rico?
The names of these enablers will be shocking, said lawyer Tony Busby. The prosecutor has revealed that his alleged misbehavior may have been made possible by the assistance of other individuals. These individuals are believed to have participated in or supported the alleged acts, which involve grave accusations in a number of ways.
That you know there's more bodies that's gonna fall. See, right now, what we have to start thinking about, I hate to do this, I swear to you. And that's why I ain't gonna mention no names, ain't gonna show no faces, no pictures. I ain't doing all of this. Let me say this. Everybody that's been around him. I'm not talking about taking a picture with him like I did at a Golden State Warriors game. I'm not talking about showing up to some party and then you find out it was a Diddy party. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who were part of his crew, who were around him a lot.
How do you feel about Diddy's escalating legal issues? Do you believe the evidence gathered during the raids will have a major impact on the case, or is it too soon to make any decisions? Leave a comment below.